yeah, I took a few months off. I've been feeling really drained lately, kind of crowded at the same time. I don't know. I might have talked about this before. But the point is, I haven't been making anything. So I figured it was time to get back to work. So I was going through the calendar of everything in March that I could cover, and there were two that really stood out to me. One of which was really important to me as far as being a songwriter and a performer, and really contributing heavily to what I consider my second wave. We'll get to that in a minute. What are you doing? Stay there. Get off my goddamn fan. But we're not going to cover that one. Instead, we're going to take a look at an EP that came out at the very end of that second wave. So, celebrating its 4th anniversary, or to just say it's been 4 years since I put this record out, we're going to take a look at 2018's quick little EP, Years and Miles. I've got to take a shower first. I feel gross. I just ate half a pizza for breakfast. I only kind of remember the details surrounding this EP, which clearly make it the best choice to talk about for an episode. The whole thing was written and or recorded very shortly before I fled to Florida, like days before. As far as backstory goes, in December of 2017, The Mess had put out our second and final record, Lord, and keeping with tradition, I was in a particularly rough spot. Again, or still, depending on how you look at things. Knee-deep in addiction and depression and loneliness. Well, if you check out this book, I talk about it pretty extensively in all of its horrible, depressing fucking detail. But anyway, just like clockwork, I was feeling bad and cranking out song after song after song. That's just the way my head works. So in January of 2018, I put out an EP called Color, with the intention that some of the tracks would end up as Mess songs and eventually become the basis for what would have been our third record. A month later, I released another one, and I thought, if this is going to keep happening, if I'm just going to keep releasing an EP month after month after month, let's make it like a project. Again, like the 2015 experiment, where I released one month after month after month, and let's give ourselves a challenge, see if we can do it again. And I got close. 9 EPs, I think, in 2018. Right up until I got sober and then couldn't write anymore. That's just how it goes, I guess. So this EP, Years and Miles, is the third in that string of EPs from 2018. And I don't hate it. It was all recorded via my webcam mic on my old PC in my living room. At that point, I had become too apathetic to put any effort at all into setting up appropriate recording material or to do anything that wasn't entirely, completely necessary. Which to me was guitar, voice, and just something that recorded audio. And that's that. The first track on the record, I think, should have been a clue to some people as to where my mind was at the time. You'll see.
I guess it's time again to only think about the end. But I want to show you how much I love the time we spent. I guess it's time again to say you'll always be my friends. hope to know you through years and lives and anything. I'm putting away the mess. You can finally move around. We sang and laughed and tried our best. But damn, I'll always miss this mess. But damn, I'll always miss the mess.
See, when I left Florida, it was a snap decision in a heated moment. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision, although I'm sure some people would argue it was. I sincerely believe that I had to go, but not a lot of thought had gone into it. This song, written less than a week beforehand, I believe, is pretty clear as far as my intentions in those days. I was planning on breaking up the mess, even before I was planning on going to Florida. As I say in the song, I'm putting away the mess, and you can finally move around. We sang and laughed and tried our best, and goddamn, I'll always miss this mess. At the time, Kevin was putting a lot of work into No More Death Stars, which I felt deserved more of his attention. Al was booking far more often as Goat Sausage, and Gina and I had recently started playing out as Pencil Dive. I felt like it was time for all of us to grow and move on. I used to have this thing where I believed that bands should last only 3 years if they're not doing like national stuff. And I still believe that. And the mess hit that 3-year mark. Besides, it was really clear to me that it was not good for me at the time. We put everything we had into that band, and we had eventually outgrown it, and I didn't feel it was right for me to hold on to those people or that band for the sake of my own sinking ship. And further, I wrote this song so they kind of knew that it wasn't out of negativity or hostility at all. It was going to be out of love and respect for them. And now, 4 years later, even if I hadn't moved to Florida, I believe breaking up the mess at that time would have been the right move anyway. They've all done exceptionally well without me tying them down. Next up, we have a very hastily recorded cover of a very playful song that I have loved for a long, long time.
Her name is Noelle, and I have a dream about her. She rings my bell. Got a gym class in half an hour. Oh, how she rocks. Her cat's in 2 spots, but she doesn't know who I am. She doesn't give a damn about me, 'cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. Yeah, I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. Listen to Iron Maiden, baby, with me.
What is there to say about this? You know, it's a cover, it's a fantastic song, it perpetually just gets stuck in my head and has for the last 20 years or so. It's originally by the band Wheatus, whose entire first record is phenomenal. The background vocals are courtesy of my long-suffering partner Elizabeth, who was disappointed that I had lowered her vocals a little bit in the final mix. But she was outshining me. Can't have that. That's a joke, Elizabeth. Up next, we enter the back half of the little EP, the third track, Together Not Here.
So I might run off in the night, maybe abandon this whole life, leave all of this trash behind. I don't think I would mind.
It's a love song. Sort of. Without getting into too much detail, though the idea of fleeing to Orlando was a snap decision, the idea of escaping my life was definitely not a new concept to me. And I'm sure a lot of people relate to that idea. What if we could just go somewhere else? What if we could just start over? I generally like this song, in spite of the fact that there's no chorus or hook or catchy anything. In 2018 and 2019, I did play the song quite a bit at various open mics or any solo shows I did. And even recently, I relearned it in preparation for getting back out there. Which, who knows? Maybe I'm done with this. There is a version of the song with drums, courtesy of Matt Hall, that I released in 2019 on the record Life Moves On, The World Moves On, So I Should Move On Too, but we're not talking about that record right now. And finally, we get to the closing track, and keeping with tradition again, it's a bummer.
Who did I think I was? Did I have it so bad? If I could just sober up, maybe I wouldn't be so sad. Now I'm just screaming every thought I have. Who did I think I was? Did I have it so bad? I'm having my doubts. And I'm filled with doubt.
I'll be honest, I usually know what I'm talking about in my lyrics, even if it's been years or they're fairly obtuse. But even though these seem pretty straightforward, I have no idea what I'm specifically referencing here. Besides just looking back on a situation and feeling like I'm blowing it out of proportion and now I'm paying for it, I have no idea what situation I was complaining about at the time. Clearly bummed me out though. It's a slow burner. It's not one that I would play live, I don't think. Maybe I would. In my catalog of forgettable nonsense, this is some of the most forgettable nonsense. And that's that. The cover art is a photograph of a sketch I had in my kitchen at the time. I had a large easel in my kitchen with just art supplies and ephemera all about. And I would come home drunk and high at 3 a.m. or whatever, and I would just go to the easel and start fucking making things. This was just one of the things that I made around that time. Just a weird, half put together face. It's not fantastic. It's not good. It represents the period for me, though. Like I said, after this EP, I pretty much immediately left New York and began the long, often miserable, often rewarding journey of kind of getting my shit together. So when I say that this EP came at the end of my second wave, what I mean is that it sort of marks the end of that miserable era for me. We'll get into more detail on the second wave in some future episode, I'm sure. Like always, I have chosen a song from the EP to play myself out with. It's not Teenage Dirtbag. Instead, because I literally just had to relearn it, it's the third track, the best of the bunch in my opinion, Together, Not Here. Thank you so much for hanging out. I am looking forward to this second volume of episodes and digging through a whole slew of EPs that no one cares about. Barely even me. And whatever weird emotional horseshit is attached to them. I'll see you next month, and if I actually get my stage musician shit together, hopefully I'll see you live long before that. Don't count on it, though. Anyway, I'll play myself out. Take care.
All of this